ונצליח. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Lighthouse Project. Once again, very excited to be back here again, continuing our series of Avodat Hashem Besimcha. This week's class is going to be about unity. In the past few lessons, we journeyed through personal introspect of our personal character and relationship with God. We've touched on certain subjects that pertain to God and the service of God, such as prayer, teshuvah, and overall avodat Hashem besimcha, infusing happiness in our service of Hashem. And we spoke about self-introspect and personal upgrade of our character and discovering our Jewish identity. And the importance to constantly be in a state of growth and striving to emulate Hashem and to emulate Hashem's ways and be as close as possible to Tselem Elokim. The time has come to take all that we've learned in the past few lessons and apply it to our daily lives. It's time to apply our upgraded selves to a new level of interaction and inclusion with our fellow Jews. Being part of the Jewish nation is a privilege. Knowing how to interact in it is a skill. Interacting with a fellow Jew has laws, halachic definitions, social guidelines, and with truth, honesty, camaraderie, love and care as necessary ingredients to the unity of the Jewish nation. And the unity of the Jewish nation is the focus of this lesson. The history, the success and failure of our unity, and the absolute necessity of unity in our times, and its urgent need in order to bring Mashiach Tzidkenu. I'd like to take this opportunity to give an honorable mention to tonight's sponsors. We have DJ Acquisition, who are part of our Issachar and Zevulun sponsorship for the Refuah Shelema of Menachem Mendel Ben Sarah Batya and Devorah Feiga Bat Rezel. And this particular class is sponsored by our very own Issachar and Zevulun sponsorship, H&M Builders, in honor, this is for Joseph Dornbush, a good friend of ours, who's doing this in honor of his grandfather, Yosef Ben Yehuda. Be'ezrat Hashem, that Joseph and the Dornbush family have a lot of success, and Besorot Tovot soon, and Zivug, and may we only hear good news. Our second sponsor for the second week in a row, Stacy Bouton from the East Coast. She's doing this in honor of her three boys, Yonatan and Michael Ben Stacy, Eliyahu Ben Stacy, and Shalom Ben Stacy. All so they can merit to become Talmidei Chachamim. What a mom. Every time I read that, I get a little bit verklempt. It's beautiful. A mom wants her kids to be, Talmidei Chachamim. Boys, the invitation is still out. If you want to call, if you want to study together, I'd love to do that. And this is also for the Refuah Shelema of Menachem Ben Mendel Ben Sarah Batya and Devorah Feiga Bat Rezel. And I got to thinking about it. I also want to give a shout out to our older sponsors, to Lior, to Noam, to Florine, to Lynn, and to all the people that made this happen before this night. I miss you guys, and I still remember how special it felt to see your name in front of me as sponsors. Tonight, a lesson on unity. Together as one. Let's get some history about Jewish unity. See, the Jewish nation came into being from our three patriarchs, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and four matriarchs, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. And by the end of Sefer Bereshit, they form a relatively small family of 70 people, which travel into Egypt. They enter Mitzrayim. And in Egypt, Yaakov's family grew into a nation. As the Pasuk states, ובני ישראל פרו וישרצו ויעצמו במאוד מאוד ותמלא הארץ אותם. That Bnei Israel, the kids of Yaakov, they procreated and they grew in size and they grew in mass, and the land filled up with them. And during the time they were in Egypt, they transitioned from a welcomed alien nation to the slaves of an evil king. Later on, they were saved by Hashem, by the hand of Moshe Rabbeinu, and there's a whole story of the splitting of the sea and the traveling into the desert. And in the Sinai desert, in Midbar Sinai, we get our first experience of unity. The Torah documents that the nation of over 600 men and a total of over a few million people were united as one. On Vav Sivan, on the 6th of Sivan, the day of Matan Torah, the day that we were giving the Matan Torah, it is written, the Pasuk says, Vayichan Sham Israel Neged Ahar. And Israel was stationed in front of the mountain. What's so special about this particular Pasuk? It says, Am Israel. It doesn't say Bnei Israel. It doesn't say the kids of Israel or the way they're known as a nation. It says Am Israel in a singular form is standing in front of Har Sinai. So when it says over there, Vayichan Sham Israel in a singular form, Rashi explains over there, Ish Echad Belev Echad, as if it was one person with one heart. The whole nation was like one person with one heart, one body. And they were all ready to receive the Holy Torah the day of the Torah. And that day, we were one. There's an interesting commentary by the Kli Yakar. He says, Vayichan Sham Israel, that the nation of Israel was stationed by the mountain. He says over there, I'll read it in Hebrew and explain. Lo hayu re'uyim leTorah ad she'itchabru. They were not worthy of receiving the Torah on that day until they became unified. Because they were so divided, there was such a division between them that this one would allow and the other one would forbid. And eventually, the way that they were so divided, any Torah that was going to be given to them would have several versions to it. It would be like giving two Torot or several, because there were so many opinions. Therefore, the Torah was given specifically on the month of Sivan, which the zodiac sign for Sivan, twins. Why twins? Two that are in harmony. Interesting. And this whole harmony or unity is a feat that throughout the ages was difficult to repeat. And yet, it is the essence of being a Jew. Being united, acting as one, together as one, is our ultimate fate and our ultimate destiny. But the question is, how can millions of Jews act as one? How's that possible? Why are we so connected to this concept of one? Why has it been such an important concept for all the ages? I mean, we're constantly trying to achieve oneness as a nation. There's no nation in the world that's doing that. We're the only one constantly striving to be one.
Well, because we are a reflection of Hashem. Hashem is one. When you say Shema Israel,
you're good. You're good. That's page 7 or 8, I think.
okay.
It is. No, it's good. We're on the right track. We're on the right track. So, again, why has it been such an important concept for all the ages and so highlighted and yearned for nowadays? The whole concept of being one. The answer is, united, we win. Divided, we lose. Simply put. Yaakov Avinu was the first one to let us in on this secret. In Sefer Bereshit, in Perik Memtet Pasuk Aleph, it's in Parashat Vayechi, it says over there, Vayikra Yaakov el banav vayomer, He'asafu v'agid alachem et asher yikare etchem b'acharit hayamim, and it continues to say, Hikavetzu ushma'u b'nei Yaakov. What does that mean? Vayikra Yaakov el banav, Yaakov called all his children. This is right before he was about to die. And he says, He'asfu v'agid alachem, gather and I will tell you. Asher yikare etchem b'acharit hayamim. What's going to happen at the end of days. He wanted to let them know the date of Mashiach and when it's happening. And then it escaped him. And then it says, Hikavetzu ushma'u b'nei Yaakov. Gather, unite as one, listen, the sons of Yaakov. So even though we don't have the exact date, this particular pasuk is actually telling us what's going to happen at the end of the days. At the end of the days, we need to gather, we need to unite, we need to be as one, especially at the end of days. And by the way, that's us right now. We are at the end of days, just so you know. Our success in this generation, by the way, this generation is called Ikvita de Mashiach, the heels of Mashiach. The heels of Mashiach, we're right there. There's many calculations of when it is. If it's the full 6,000, 5,800, a little bit more, a little bit less, make your own calculation, go to your local rabbi, see what he says. But right now we're at 5777. Okay? And Yaakov tells us, when you gather, when you unite, at the end of days, that is the secret. In other words, he didn't say, Yudalet Betishre, Mashiach is coming. He says, no, but around that time, you better be unified. However, in 5,777, Baruch Hashem, we see that there's a tremendous surge of Baalei Tshuva. There's a lot of people coming back to Hashem. A lot. By the millions. But in comparison, we also have a lot of division, and on many levels, within the Jewish nation. Rabbeinu Bachye says that there is no nation that should have love instilled in them and hatred far from their hearts like the Jewish nation. As it is written, there's a pasuk that says, Umi ki'amecha Yisrael goy echad ba'aretz. Who is like you? He's bringing this whole thing about how we should have love, and hatred should be the farthest thing from the Jewish mind and heart, from the pasuk that says, and who's like you, the nation of Israel, one nation and one land. In other words, we have one God, right? We are the only chosen nation. We have one Torah. We have one land. There's no confusion. Everything is one. We have no reason not to be united and to be divided. That's what Rabbeinu Bachye says. But the Kli Yakar brings in his midrash in Vayikra, Perek Chavav, Pasuk Lamed Vav, he says because there's a division of the hearts that is found in the Jewish nation more than any other nation. He says there's something very unique to the Jewish nation. There's a division of the hearts. He gives an example. Each one pushes the other one like bamboo shoots in the wind, knocking each other around with the force of the wind. And just like a leaf that hits its neighboring leaf on another branch, so are the Jewish nation. In other words, if you look at bamboo shoots in the wind, they're constantly knocking into each other. Carelessly, it doesn't matter, it looks like natural. Leaves on a tree, when the wind blows, they're all hitting each other like as if it's nothing. Kli Yakar says, that's the Jew. He says, when we're strong like the bamboo shoots, we still knock each other around. And even when we're weak like a leaf, we're still knocking each other around, carelessly. Apparently there's a division in the Jewish heart. It's part of who we are. The Ramchal brings that when we are in a happy, loving state with one another, And in Kedusha, in holiness, we have the power to rule. When we're unified, we have the power to rule. When we are divided, Midat Hadin, the measure of judgment is ruling and has power over Am Yisrael, and it causes the hatred and division, and ultimately we get ruled. So here it is. Kedusha, loving, unity, we're on a rise, we're ruling, everything is great for the Jewish nation. Divided, hatred, Midat Hadin comes into effect, and what happens? People rule us. And this is not a secret. What I'm telling you here today is not a secret. Several years ago, there was a video that I saw. Part of my teshuvah process was to listen to Rav Amnon Yitzchak, and he was great on bringing things to the surface, things throughout the world that you should see. One of the things that he showed in his videos is an imam on his Friday sermon in front of thousands of people on a huge megaphone. I mean, it was just a sea of people repeating these exact words.
Destroy the Jews.
Yeah.
Like that.
He says, when you see the Jews divided, no, I'm sorry, when you see the Jews united, we cannot touch them. Do not engage in war. Their God will fight the wars for them. Their God will protect them. But when they are divided, it is our opportunity to strike. An imam. Friday sermon in front of thousands televised. They knew that secret. They knew that unity is our strength and division is not. So they study our politics. They meddle in world affairs. They sponsor groups to ensure division in the Jewish world. It's their only chance. We see that today. I gave you something that's pretty recent, but during the times of the Jewish kings, unity and division in the Jewish nation was also prevalent. This is very interesting. David HaMelech, a righteous king, his generation was filled with Torah. They said that 2-year-olds were able to give huge drashot, huge Jewish speeches, huge Torah speeches about Torah and Gemara and Mishnah and Pilpulim. 2-year-olds, what an age to live in, the age of Torah. And during the time of David HaMelech, when they went to war, they had casualties. People died. Why? Because there was no unity. During the time of David HaMelech, there was no unity. In contrast, there was another king, an evil king. His name was Achav. He was so evil that he implemented Avodah Zarah. And Jews during his reign worshipped Avodah Zarah. They worshipped idolatry. And when they went to war, they had 0 casualties. Could you imagine? You know why? They were united. During Achav, they had unity. Look at the importance of unity. See, David HaMelech's mission was to build Bet HaMikdash, which eventually was completed by his son Shlomo HaMelech. Listen to this interesting fact. The Western Wall, world famous, Kotel HaMa'aravi. Did you know that the Kotel HaMa'aravi is a product of donations of the poor? Poor people sold a little bit of bread or a little bit of belongings that they had in order to participate in Bet HaMikdash. And from the little bit of money that they brought, they were able to get the stones to build the Western Wall. The unity and the heartfelt intentions to put the wall together gave it the merit to still be up today. You have to know that every other wall around got crumbled to pieces. And the western wall got attacked with the same might, with the same force. And there's not a scratch on it. Why? Because that wall was built with the right intentions, with Jews that were united. I'm repeating these Divrei Torah about the Kotel from what my Chavruta, my friend Michael Citron, shared with me today. And this last part was very interesting as well. It's very nogea, very touching to our lesson of unity. He says that a few years ago he went on a trip to Jerusalem, and it was a guided tour. And apparently underneath the ground you can travel through caves and through these tunnels, and you could see, what we see of the wall is not all of it. There's a lot more underground. And part of the guided tour, they were able to see somebody's house. And looking into his house, they saw a very lavish mosaic floor. And it was beautiful. It's jaw-dropping. And the tour guide was saying, you have to understand the magnitude of what's going on here. To have this real estate where you're footsteps away from Bet HaMikdash, and to have this wealth that you can bring this floor into Jerusalem and put it in your house, and so you had to be on a very, very high level in every way. Whether it was your wealth, whether it was your status. Not everybody gets to merit to have that type of status or that type of unique experience during the time of Bet HaMikdash. But you know what the tour guide said to him though? He says, as much as you see this lavish home and this lavish floor and everything that it represents, on the other side of the door were poor Jews begging for help, and they got none. There was no unity. A man that was filthy rich, that would spend a tremendous amount of money to get a floor done in his house, would not open the door to his house and give food to the person that's dying outside of it. That was the time of Bet HaMikdash. We were not united. We had Sinat Chinam. Sinat Chinam is no unity. We are right now in the 21-day phase between Shiva Asar B'Tammuz to Tisha B'Av. We're supposed to be sad about, the walls were breached in Yerushalayim, that Bet HaMikdash was burned. And why did it happen? Because the Jews were not united. This is what we're talking about tonight. This is the time that we're supposed to feel that during that time that there was a Bet Mikdash visible, alive with us, and there was no unity. The whole concept that we've been learning in the past few lessons, Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, right? We said we wanted one tagline. What is the whole Torah about? Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Ultimately, they didn't have that. They did not have Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. And ultimately it led to the destruction of Bet HaMikdash. See, that generation and many generations after it, till today, fail to see that we are one. That we are one body. Let me explain to you. Let's imagine a body. Okay? The head is Dor HaMidbar, Dor HaDat. When we came out of Egypt, that generation was known to be one of the highest level generation of Jews. In their smarts, in their knowledge, they were called Dor HaDat. Dat, knowledge, is the head. So that generation that was inside the desert was Dor HaDat, in the head. The generation of the Jews that went from the desert into Eretz Yisrael is the neck. That's the generation of Jews that traveled from the desert into Israel. Right here, the body, the heart, that's the time of Bet HaMikdash. Shlomo HaMelech, we had the first temple, the second temple, that's the body. Us now, what are we called? Ikvata de Mashiach. We're the heel. We're the heel. We're one body. They started at the head, somewhere at the throat, somewhere at the chest. We are the heel. Ikvata de Mashiach. Their story makes up our story. Our story makes up their story. We are one. See, the Jewish nation is unique. We are spread around the world, yet there's no place in the world where you won't find a Jew or a Chabad house. And when something happens to a Jew in Cambodia, we feel it all around the world. When a Jew is in distress in China, we all feel their pain. Yes, there are. When a soldier is killed in Israel, we all feel the sorrow. When bombs are falling in Israel, we all worry. Why is that? Because we're all one. Something inside of you makes you feel like, I'm worried about what's happening to that Jew on the other side of the planet. I'm worried about what's happening in the land of Israel. Whether you're connected to it or not, whether you're into politics or not, whether you follow the news or not, but when you hear a story, you're interested. Why? You can hear hundreds of stories and not care less. Because whether you like it or not, your neshama is one little part of a huge neshama, the Jewish neshama. Our whole religion is based on unity. What do we do when we go to shul? What's the thing that we're constantly looking for? Minyan. We need to be in a group of 10. When we get to shul, what did the rabbi say? Oh, the whole tzibur is here. What's the word tzibur? It's like the whole congregation is here. What's tzibur? The rabbis tell us if you take the word tzibur, it's tzaddik besh resh. Tzaddik is tzaddik. Bet benoni. Resh rasha. What makes a congregation is the mix of the tzaddik, the mix of the guy that's in between, and the mix of the rasha. That's what makes up the Jewish tzibur. But we're still all one.
Reminds me of something else. I don't know if you mentioned this already or not, about how the Jewish people are, it says Keli, Kohen, Levi, Gisra, but it's a vessel, we're all in one vessel together.
I love that. I'm going to repeat it. So the lovely lady in the room is saying another way of seeing that we are united as one is the word Keli. Keli means the word vessel. When do you become a vessel? When we have a Kohen, when we have a Levi, and we have an Israel, then we become a vessel as a nation. I love that. Another way of saying that another way of seeing that our whole religion is based on unity is tefillah. Our entire tefillah is in plural. If you've never noticed, open up the Amidah, and you'll see that everything that we say is in plural. Hashivenu, Barechenu, Goalenu, Kabetzenu, Shmakolenu. Everything is in plural. I mean, I'm praying. Shouldn't I say, hear me, heal me, gather me?
Us.
You know, it's us. For thousands of years, the text of our prayer is in plural. The whole concept, again, of V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, the one tagline for the Torah. Everything is involving us as a group. There's the individuality of a Jew, but there is more importance being stressed into the unison of the Jewish nation. Now, we have halachot, laws, between Jews of lending without interest. Very unique laws. You can lend money as much as you want. If it's for a Jew, no interest. Monetary laws are very unique to the Jewish culture. And they have an internal rabbinical bedin. In other words, there's some things, we don't go to court. We don't go to downtown Fort Lauderdale. We go to the local shul. Rabbi, what should we do? I have a situation with my friend. It's a monetary issue. And the rabbi opens up Shulchan Aruch and opens up a Gemara and he tells you, by Jewish law, you owe him. Times 4, times 5. By Jewish law, you owe him. Completely different. Completely different. Also for marriages, also for divorces. Our religion is steeped in concepts of chesed, ahavat chinam, communal success, and harmony with the Torah as its foundation. But once again, one could say, live and let live. I'm a loner. Leave me alone. I want to do what I want to do. All this doesn't pertain to me. I'm a good Jew. Doesn't mean that I have to be part of what you're selling right now. You have millions of Baalei Tshuva. You don't need me. Does one Jew really matter? Does it really matter if I'm in it too? Keep in mind, what's it? All must be one. Okay, you'll be one minus one. So to this, Chazal gave a mashal, a parable. And you'll hear it many times, and it's a very interesting one. It's a parable to a person that was on a boat with several hundred people. And everybody had their own little cabin. And all of a sudden they noticed that the boat's starting to sink. And they're all, going crazy, going around. What's going on? They see that the water's starting to flood from one particular cabin. So they knock on the door, and they see a guy over there drilling a hole in the bottom of the ship. They go to him, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm drilling a hole. It's my cabin. I can do whatever I want to do." "Yeah, but you're drilling a hole, but we're all going to sink." "It's my cabin. I can do what I want to do." No. You can do what you want to do, but we're going down with you. That's the Jew. That's the Jew. You can do what you want to do. You're connected. Whether you like it or not, you're connected. If you make a hole in the bottom of the ship, we're all going down with you. United we win, divided we lose. United we have power. Not only here, but in the heavens as well. There's a Midrash Tanchuma that my friend's mother, a mother of 10 bli ayin hara, used to say, and I would like to repeat it. It's beautiful. One day she gathered all her boys. Imagine what a beautiful sight. There's a mom, 10 boys. Wow.
All boys?
Well, probably had some girls too. I heard the part where she gathered all her 10 boys.
Oh.
And she took those skewers, the ones that you put the shish kebabs in, and she took one, and she told them, "I want to tell you something. When you are by yourself," and she took one, and she snapped it, "you can be broken." Then she took 10 skewers, put them together, but when all of you are united, she took it, no one can break you. So she told them, stay together, don't fight. Not just the family, all of Am Yisrael. And I thought it was such a beautiful, beautiful example of really for a young kid to understand that yes, I can be broken as one. Divide and conquer, the Yetzer Hara. If he takes you out, he'll divide and conquer you, he could do that. But when you're together, when you're united, he can't. He can't win everybody. So it's very, very important to be in the right circle of people, right circle of friends, right environment. I actually heard another beautiful story from a good friend of mine, Natanel. I have to repeat their names. They say if you...
Did you say Natanel?
Yeah.
I love that name.
They say if you mention a person's name that told you the Divrei Torah, you bring the Geulah closer. So he's the one that told me, and he heard it from Rabbi Schaefer. He says, we have power on earth and in the heavens. He says, how does that work? He says, the rabbi says, look at a lever. What's a lever? A lever is some sort of mechanism that once you pull it or once you wind it up, it moves something really, really big somewhere else. For example, let's just say I got a huge 10,000 pound tractor that can dig the ground or making holes in the ground. It's a monster machine. But if I want to make that monster machine move, I have a little lever, a little foot pedal that I'll just go like that, and it starts to move.
I was thinking a little differently. They have this big tractor, but if you lose one bolt, you're done.
That's another way of looking at it. He says also, imagine like a huge crane. A huge crane, it's carrying thousands and thousands of pounds. And there's a guy over there with just a small little lever going forward, going backwards, or winding it up to make it move. He says that's the Jewish nation. We have the power of a lever. We have the power to do something here, and we move something huge in the heavens. I thought that was also an excellent example. Now, this tremendous power that we have, that Jews can move the heavens,
Use it in the right direction.
we're only talking about the right direction. If you're speaking about the heavens, I'll tell you another interesting story. There once was a challenge in the heavens between the wind and the sun. It's a famous story from Chazal as well. They saw a Jew walking in the street with his kippah and his hat and his long black jacket, and they're talking to each other and they're saying, "Let's see who can make the Jew take off his kippah. Who can make the Jew take off his hat?" So the wind says, "Okay, I'll be first." So the wind starts to blow, and starts to blow, and the Jew starts to grab his jacket, grab his hat, and he's walking the wind, and the wind is blowing even more, stronger, big gusts of wind, and the Jew is holding on like this, not letting anything fly off. And the wind is trying, it's practically almost a hurricane, and he's like this, he's not letting go. The wind gives up. Says, "I can't." The Jew is not letting go of his jacket or his hat. The sun says, "Well, let me show you how I do it." The sun comes. It's an 80-degree day. Kicks it up a notch to 90, to 100, to 105, to 110, and the Jew just can't take it anymore. It's so hot. He can't do it. He starts taking off his hat. He starts taking off his jacket. It's going to 120, 125. He can't do it. Eventually, he takes off his kippah, he takes off his hat, and he's just like, "I can't." Okay. Now, the wind goes to the sun. "How did you know that that's what you had to do?" He says, "Because a Jew, when you challenge a Jew, he'll fight. He'll fight. When you tell him you can't be Jewish, he'll go underground and be Jewish. When you tell him you can't do something, he'll do whatever it is just to hold on to one mitzvah." All the stories that we have in the Holocaust and how they went underground just to say one, just to light the candles of Hanukkah, or just to pray the prayer Shabbat, just to put on tefillin, or during the Inquisition, changing their language, so many things. But make a Jew comfortable, give him some sunshine, and he gets comfortable, he'll take it off on his own. He'll take it off on his own. He'll shed his Judaism on his own. And through the ages, we see that many people knew that ploy. Many people knew the ploy of making a Jew comfortable, and by making a Jew comfortable, they were able to lure them out of the religion, out of the unity that we're speaking about tonight, into being more like a goy. The more you make a Jew comfortable in your land, the more he'll want to be like you. And I just want to say that nowadays it is a very visible and very easy to see. The United States has made it very comfortable for Jews. And the latest numbers are 70% assimilation. 70. Holocaust was 50. 70. I read the article. I think I mentioned it a few lessons ago. 70% assimilation. First marriages, 65% not with Jews. Second marriages, 80% not with Jews. We're losing them. We're losing them here in America. Say it again? A third is 100? They just tap out. They say, "That's it, I can't figure it out."
But according also, I believe, to Hazal, only 1 out of 4 Jews, or 1 out of 5 Jews, is going to be going with Mashiach. The rest are going to perish.
Right,
So they're perishing now. Maybe that is a way that they're perishing. I know it's very difficult to understand, but if only 1 out of 4 is going to make it when Mashiach comes, that we have the merit to be there, just like when we left Egypt, that 1 out of
So Rochelle's making a great. I was going to finish your point. She made a great point. They say that in the time of Mashiach, only a quarter is going to make it. So she's saying all these people that are being assimilated are the ones that are not going to make it. And it's very similar to the time of Egypt. 80% of the Jews died in Makat Choshech. Only 20% of the Jews really made it. So yes, but I'll be honest with you. You know why I'm sitting here?
It breaks my heart.
It breaks my heart. You know why I'm sitting here today? Do you know why I'm even giving lessons here today? Is because I could have been part of that other side. But I had the merit, the zchut, or God literally helped me get to this place where I saw the light, I saw the Torah, I saw mitzvot, I understood the right way to live. But you know what? Why I'm here? Is because I want to bring one more Jew with me. I want to inch myself 1 inch closer to the Geulah. I want to, when Mashiach comes and holds that velvet rope, I would hate to turn back and see my cousin there, and see my friend there, and see my neighbor there. It would rip my heart apart to see that somebody that I know is not going to be part of the Geulah. I'm here today that Be'ezat Hashem, the same way that it was done for me, that I was able to be brought back into the fold, that maybe I can help bring one more, and one more will merit to do the Geulah. That's what it's all about. Because it's possible that maybe we can save them all. Maybe their statistics were wrong. Let's be optimistic. All you have to do is believe in Mashiach and be part of that club, and you're in. The rest is just the work to get there. But that's what it's all about.
This works, you'll bring another 2,000.
Say it again?
I said, if this works, you'll bring another 2,000. I don't believe it.
Be'ezat Hashem.
It's 2,000.
2,000.
No, I'm just, invite.
Go ahead.
It's either do it here or don't come to the
So now look, nowadays we are so comfortable living like a goy, it's unbelievable. Some Jews have lost their identities. We have Jews that are clueless about their heritage and their purpose in this world. They know more about the Kardashians and Trump than about Tisha B'Av and what time Shabbat comes in this week. There's some Jews, you tell them, what time does Shabbat come in this week? I don't know. What did Trump say today? They'll give you the whole Megillah. Huh? It must be. The bottom line is, we are comfortably numb in a goyish society. Clueless about what's at stake for us as Jews. We live in a world with no Bet HaMikdash. Does that move anyone emotionally when I say that? When I say we live in a world without Bet HaMikdash, you feel something? Let's be honest.
No, you don't feel anything because you didn't have it, so you don't know what you're missing. But
Amazing. Amazing.
But you have studied some and you have learned some, so you're wondering what is it going to be like.
It's exactly that. Come to every place. My Rabbi Sharabani, my rabbi in my shul in David Chai, he said the exact same thing, but he gave an amazing example. I felt it, because it was true. If you go around the room and tell you, okay, we don't have Bet HaMikdash right now. Who's feeling for it? Who's shedding a tear for it? Who's sad about it? Crickets, of course. But, listen to this. Let's take an example. There's a child that is an orphan who never experienced parental love. A child that never experienced the hug or kiss of a mother. A child that never experienced a vote of confidence from his father. A child that never felt when your parents are around. A child that has not experienced the joy or pleasures of having his family's presence throughout all the stages of life. That boy never felt parental love. So you know what happens? He doesn't miss it.
And he doesn't even know how to
He
do
doesn't
it.
even know what a mother's kiss feels like. He doesn't know what it's like to wake up at 3 in the morning and get comforted back to sleep by your mother. He doesn't know what it's like to have a father that is walking with him to shul hand in hand. He doesn't have all those things. He just doesn't know. So he just doesn't feel like he's missing anything. But what about the child that does have a mother and a father? And now they are gone. Will that child feel the void? Will that child feel or miss their presence? Will that child be bitterly sad by the loss of his parents? Yes. You know why? Because he experienced it. He felt parental love. So the parents are Bet HaMikdash. And the child is Am Yisrael. We are the orphan child that doesn't know what a parent feels like. We don't know what it's like to live in a world where there's a Bet HaMikdash. That's why we don't feel it. Had we had Bet HaMikdash and we felt what it's like to live, to be a Jew united as one living with Bet HaMikdash, we'll feel that void. That's why today it's 5,777. I'm telling you, Bet HaMikdash is destroyed. Crickets.
But don't you get Tisha B'Av as a reminder? And
Right. Of course, it's a reminder. We force ourselves. It's now force ourselves. We must remember. You can't forget Yerushalayim. You can't forget Bet HaMikdash. But we have to understand that the reason why we're not feeling it because we never had it.
This generation.
That's right. We don't know what Bet HaMikdash meant to us. We are disconnected from our true essence and purpose. We lost our parents. In other words, we lost Bet HaMikdash. And because of Sinat Chinam, the division and the lack of unity, which is the times that we're going through nowadays. Unity is what we need. Unity is our power. Unity is our purpose in this world, and our, as they say in Yiddish, our tachlis. What's the tachlis? What's the tachlit? What's the bottom line? Jew, what do you wake up and strive for? To be united. You see, united, everything goes our way. Divided, we have no chance. So give it to me. The ADD generation needs a one tagline to fix it all. What is it? How do we get united? How do we get united? Give it to me in one line. You've been going on for 40 minutes. Give me one line.
By loving each other. How do we get united? By accepting each other, by loving each other.
Love the Woodstock in the room. It's all relevant. It's all true. But the uniting
Having
factor,
the same idea.
the uniting factor. How do we get united? The uniting factor is Torah.
Oh, wow.
Just like we were united as one time in history during Matan Torah, that is what will unite us again. Keep in mind, you got to go back to where you succeeded first. The first time we were united was by that mountain. You want to be united again, you got to go back to that original formula.
Well,
What was it?
Here's a small sample.
Here it is. Here it is. You got to go back to the original formula. Torah is what united us. And Torah is what will unite us again. See, there's a concept of Yehudim. What's Yehudim? If you open up a Sephardic Siddur, practically before they do anything, they say something, L'Shem Yechut Kucha B'Yechush Chinteh. They want to combine the letters Yud K and Vav K. They want to keep doing. You know, as a Jew, we're here to fix the world. Sephardic Jews, they take on even more. Every single day, before bracha, before prayer, before talking, L'Shem Yechut, to bring things together. Now, we're constantly merging, uniting, putting together in every prayer and every blessing. And this is all to bring unity back. In other words, there's some people that are turned on to this concept of unity on a regular basis. Everything that they do, they say, hey, before I do anything, let me start to bring things together. So much division in the world. Everything that I do, I'm going to put together. I'm going to put Hashem's name together before I eat. I'm going to put Hashem's name together before I pray. I'm going to do Hashem's name together before I talk. People are doing this on a very high level on a daily basis, and it's very easy. As a matter of fact, Rav Meir Eliyahu once said that before you do anything, all you have to do is L'Shem Yechud Kedusha Berichu Shinteh. If you say those words, L'Shem Yechud Kedusha Berichu Shinteh, that means everything that you're doing is for Hashem to you bring back unity into the world. Because what happens, just to go off on a little tangent over here, there's the good and there's the bad. When you do an act, whatever it is, if you're eating, if you're studying, if you're praying, if you're doing a mitzvah, if you're doing a sin, that act becomes an angel or becomes like a product. And it can go two ways. You can either go to the good side, you can go to the bad side. What decides which side it goes to? It all decides on where you're holding. Are you a holy Jew or are you a sinner? Are you an in-between? Are you right now on the good and in the afternoon you're on the bad? Are you bouncing around? Depends. Where are you? You don't know. But because you're not holding on where you are, what you want to do is, hey, you know what, Hashem, I don't know where I'm holding right now, but I know that whatever blessing that I'm doing, whatever prayer that I'm doing, I want it to go to the good side. So as soon as you say the Shem Yichud Kudsha B'Chu Shinteh, it wraps up that mitzvah and says, go over here, and has nothing to do with where you're holding that moment. So in other words, you could actually be in a bad state, do mitzvot, but you're saying to Hashem, but I'm separating the good from the bad in order to unite what's good and what's bad. I thought it was incredible.
Is that Kabbalistic?
Yes, that's on a very high level. But it was very, very interesting to see how you can do it every day. Now, where do we bring back unity on our day-to-day basis? They say someplace that is very interesting is Kriyat Shema al Amitam. There's a very, very big mitzvah, a mitzvah that you can only do it between you and Hashem. Only you are in the room that time. Nobody's watching. Nobody's seeing you bob and weave. Nobody's seeing you hold a book. Nobody's looking at you to see if you're loud, if you're making the face. It's just you and Hashem. Right before you go to sleep. Shema Yisrael. Very, very high level prayer. One of the highest prayers of all time. Shema Yisrael al Amitam. One day we'll do a class on it. You won't believe what's happening in those 3 minutes, 5 minutes. You won't believe. But for this class, the rabbi is saying, again, and this is on a very high level, but we can connect to it. At the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to say, where was I divided today? Where was I not united today? Was I not connected to my wife? Was I not connected to my children? Was I not connected to my religion? Was I not connected to Hashem today? And if that's what it was, if you were able to find, oh, you know what? I was very far away from the religion today. You know what? I was very far away from my wife today. So he says, right before you go to sleep, do the Yichud. Bring it back. Just recognizing that you did the division that day makes you wake up the next morning and say, hey, time to bring it back. The Yichud at night. Another concept of unity. See, this daily union of separation that were made throughout the day actually brings forth ahdut, unity. Did you guys ever hear the concept of all for one and one for all? The Three Musketeers? No, sir. That's ours. All for one and one for all is ours.
Like abracadabra.
It's ours too.
It's ours too.
All for one. Who is one? One is Hashem, one is Hashem, one is Hashem, in the heavens and the earth, right? Pesach song, you know that song? All for one. All of us for one, Hashem. And one, and Hashem, is for all, not the Three Musketeers. This is ours. The Chidush is that all is for Hashem and Hashem is for all. Now, not all Jews are the same. We have various cultures and denominations. We have Sephardic, we have Ashkenazim, we have light skin, we have dark skins, we have Orthodox, we have secular. At 5,777, we have to love them all. This is it.
But we know it's so divided now.
And that's what this class is about. There's no time to hate. There's no time to hate. Time is running out on that nonsense. At 5,777 Igvita de Mashiach, I have no problem with you saying Chatzotz Rois and me saying Chatzotzot. I have no problem with that. I have no problem that you walk through a Chabad door and you do it that way, and that guy walks through a Breslev door and does it that way, and I go to Sephardi, go to the shul and do that. I have no problem with that. You know why? Deep inside of you, underneath this suit called the body, there's a spark. Identical to mine. The Jewish spark. If you were able to just like zipper this body off of all of us, there'd just be a small little ball of neshama of all of us, identical, all in the room.
So why are the Ashkenazi schools in Israel so anti-Semitic against the Sephardi Jews? I know people that
There
have changed
is
their last
history.
name
Yes, there
to
is.
go to a good school.
There is so much history. There's so much politics. We're not going to highlight the bad. We know the bad. I'm here to say, leave that behind. Divorce that story. Let that be the past. Our story, this group of people right here, let's walk out this room and love everybody. Let's be okay if he's Ashkenazi. Let's be okay if he's Sephardi. Let's be okay if he's not religious. Let's be okay if he's secular. Let's be okay if he does. I don't want to itemize the sins. But you know what? He's a Jew. He's not there yet. He's okay. You know why? Because that Jew that's driving on Shabbat, or that Jew that's not eating kosher, I was that guy. So another Jew was hating me because I was doing that? I don't want that. I want somebody to love me for who I am. So when I see that guy, I say, you know what? He's just not there yet. He just didn't get that nugget of information. He didn't get that little spark to get him there. He will. Maybe he'll come to a class. Maybe I'll bump into him one day and I'll share some words of wisdom with him. Maybe Hashem will make something happen for him to come back with tshuva. But hate him, I will not. Judge him, I will not. You know why? Because he's got the same ball of energy, the same neshama inside. Whatever the suit is and whatever his actions are, it's irrelevant. 5,777, it's time to love everyone. Why? Love will bring the unity. Love will bring the achdut. And unity is our power. United, we win. United, we bring Mashiach. There's no time for Heidelbaum, Manischewitz, Cohen, Levy. It doesn't matter. Are you a Jew? Are you a Jew? I love you. Like we learned earlier, Jews have something unique that they're wrestling with on the inside, which is the internal hate and dislike for one another. Which is when Midat Hadin, when the strict judgment, the measure of judgment of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in control, there's hate and dislike amongst us. When there's Kedusha and camaraderie, it's the opposite. Now, unfortunately, anyone who's not in Hashem's ways is predisposed to be under Midat Hadin, strict judgment. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? However, I heard several examples of this unique situation. I just heard it this morning, and I'm sorry, yesterday morning. This is incredible. This is from Rabbi Mansour. Rabbi Mansour was once having a conversation with another rabbi, and they were talking about this exact same subject, unity, camaraderie of Am Yisrael, how people interact with one another. So the rabbi tells Rabbi Mansour, you know what? Every Jew is a diamond. And if there's one thing that we know about diamonds, for all the Jews in the room, or for anyone who's in the jewelry business, nothing can break or cut a diamond except for another diamond. So he says, such are the Jews. There are two diamonds and each one cuts each other because it's the only one that can do it. Nobody else can hurt them. So Rabbi Mansour goes to, I can add to that. He says there was once a hammer and an anvil. And the hammer and the anvil were working together, and when they would put a piece of gold on it, the hammer would hit it, and it would make a noise. But when he took away the piece of gold and hit just the anvil, it would make a much louder noise. So the anvil would ask the hammer, why are you so noisy? Why are you making so much noise? How come when I hit you, you make such a loud noise, but when I put something else in between us, you hardly make any noise? He told them, because we're made from the same thing. We're the same thing. We're made from the same metal. When you hit me, it hurts me more. That's another Jew. When a Jew hits another Jew, scolds another Jew, hurts another Jew's feelings, it hurts more of the internal. Somebody else would do that to you, you wouldn't even care. You know, I was thinking about it some more and something else came up. Rabbi David from Shuvah Israel also had a very good example. He says, if you, there's a den of porcupines. You know how they live? They live underground. A bunch of them, all smushed all together. And every time that they turn or they twist, you know, the porcupines have these spikes. They keep like jabbing each other with these spikes, with these thorns. And then what would you call them? These quills. Yet they don't get out. They stay together. Why? Because they'd rather stay in that tight hole, poking each other, getting hit every once in a while, and be safe than be outside and have a chance to die. See, they would rather be in a hole together, united and safe with an occasional poke or discomfort, than be outside of the hole, prone to danger and death. And such is the Jew. He might get a couple of pokes or zings by his fellow Jew in shul, or in the supermarket, or with the family, or in the community. But it's better than being out there in a goyish world where you can lose your soul, the precious Jewish neshama. In other words, I'd rather be in a place where Jewish people are bothering me every once in a while than to just disconnect myself, again, division and not unity, and be out there in a goyish world, because there I lose my entire neshama. A person can lose his entire neshama. In conclusion, we must realize that we are all one of one large body of the Jewish nation. While division is still part of our daily lives, we know that unity can be achieved through the Torah. Simply put, Torah will unite us. Just like it did thousands of years ago, so it will again today. Torah is the uniting factor. And in this day and age, we must love every Jew. We must pray for every Jew. We have to educate every Jew and inch closer to the Geulah, one Jew at a time. We must not have sinat chinam, which is the energy of these weeks, and implement ahavat chinam, which is what we saw demonstrated before the lesson started. Be tolerant of one another, regardless of cultural backgrounds. And Be'ezrat Hashem, may we have unity in our homes, unity in our marriages, unity in our communities, unity in our land of Israel, and unity in our heart. And the more united we will be, the better things will be for us, for our country, for our people, and we will merit to bring Mashiach and bring back the kavod to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And also merit to lekayem the pesukim, Hine ma tov u'na'im shevet achim gam yachad. And Am Yisrael chai. And that we shall be once again Am echad belev echad. One nation with one heart. שיטו ליבכם לחילה פסגו אמנותה למען תספרו דור אחרון. שהשם יברך אתכם וישמח אתכם. Thank you so much for listening.